Welcome to another episode of the Success Story Podcast. Today, I sat down with Tressa, Azarel, Smallwood. She has built her own book publishing company. She has built her own film production company. She regularly teaches at community events, teaching young individuals, young creatives how to grow up into entrepreneurship. She has given everything back and then some. We spoke about her life, her lessons learned. We also have three incredible sponsors for today's episode. We have Gusto. It is a one-stop shop for payroll solutions. We have Mint Mobile. They are revolutionizing the way that you use your cell phone and the costs involved as well. And then we also have BKA Content, one of the best content writing services for copy, SEO, website, social I've ever seen. So they all have incredible offers for all Success Story Podcast listeners. Stick around until halfway through. You know how it goes. All right, without further ado, let's get right into another episode of the Success Story Podcast. Okay, thanks again for joining me. Today I am sitting down with Tressa Azarel Smallwood. She is an award-winning book publisher, movie producer, entrepreneurial coach. In 2003, after she wrote her first novel, she resigned from teaching. She was working in the Maryland school system, and she wanted to go into entrepreneurship, which is a lofty goal, but listen to what she's done. So you've published numerous books, resulting in over 162 published titles. Some of them are being adapted into film. That's insane. You are a content catalog owner. Your work has been featured in Black Enterprise, EURWeb, The Source, Shadow and Act, Rolling Out. You're building out MegaMind Media. That's your award-winning film company. And you recently produced the 2019 American Black Film Festival and BET award-winning film All In. That's an incredible resume. Right now, MegaMind is positioned to become the fastest growing independent film producing company for book to film adaptations in America. Racial equity is at the forefront of all the projects that you take on. Your company is basically building on your love for education. You're also doing some charity work with the Washington Mayor, Marion Barry, and her Mayor's Youth Program. You're teaching students techniques to be part of the creative economy through mentoring. Tressa, that's a very impressive, very extensive resume, and congratulations for the work you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much, Scott, and thank you for having me here.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I'm very excited because I speak to a lot of entrepreneurs, but not a lot of entrepreneurs that go from education into a variety of things, and then now you're building up independent film. So that's something that I'm not used to, and I don't know anything about. I know a lot about tech and that entrepreneurship, but this is a whole other stream. It's very exciting. So let's go back, and you can decide where you want to start in your life. It could be after you finish teaching or maybe before. So walk me through your story a little bit.
Yeah. So one, I come from a family full of entrepreneurs. I've watched, tons of people in my grandfather, for example, he had like 12 different jobs, Scott. And I was like, where are you going? What are you doing next? What's happening here? And I never understood that as a child. I just would see him zipping from one job to the next. And then fast forward, I was in school, for college and studying marketing at the time. And I said, I like this, but I'm just not really sure what path I really want to be on. And to be honest, I always felt like I was behind everyone else because people knew exactly what they wanted to do. And here I was in college saying, I'm getting this degree, but I don't really know what I want to do. I don't know. I'm not sure. Always had a love for teaching. My grandmother was a teacher, and she would always say to me, you're going to be a teacher. And I said, I'm not going to be a teacher. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And sure enough, got my undergrad degree, started working in the marketing field, and got married. And my husband said, okay, all of this traveling, what are you doing? You need a steady job. What did I go do, Scott? Teaching. And so, made my grandmother
the safest job. Right? The safest, most steady job, right?
what she would say to me. And so I remember, I went back and I got a master's in education. And when, throughout my teaching, I remember just saying, I love teaching, but I still want to be an entrepreneur. There's something about me. I just had that in my spirit. And so fast forward 2001, I was 3 months pregnant with my daughter, Bailey, who's 19 now. That tells you how old I am, Scott. Don't tell nobody else. This is between us. But so I was pregnant and went to the doctor. The doctor said, you're having some health challenges here with your pregnancy, and we're going to have to put you on bed rest for 6 months. So I couldn't even process it. I was like, 6 months, like in the bed, starting when? He's like, starting now. And so that changed my life forever. I literally went on bed rest the next day, didn't go back to work. And during that time period on bed rest, I had a family member who said, you should write a book. Because I was like, how do I pass the time? I don't want to just keep clicking the remote here. And so I decided to write a book, not because I had always wanted to become an author, but I knew I needed to do something. Like I just have that spirit in me that I need to keep moving. I need to accomplish something. And so I wrote this book while on bed rest, fiction, crazy to the bone, crazy book. And that's where the name Azarel comes from. Azarel means a gift, God's gift. But I knew that writing fiction and being a school teacher, my thought process was I'm going back to work after I have my daughter, and I'm going to be a new author, and my students cannot find out that I wrote this crazy book over here. And so I wrote the name, adapted my pseudonym Azarel, and ended up publishing the book after I had my daughter. It was a huge success. Made $40K in the first 2 months, self-publishing my book independently. Now get this, back in 2001, with a master's degree as a teacher, I was only making $43,000 a year.
I was going to say that's a hit for a first-time novel.
Yeah, so that was within 2 months. So I said, well, I'm on to something. But again, that's the business side of me, that I knew how to put this book into the marketplace, studied how to do this, all this totally self-taught. So of course, this was an opportunity for me to stay at home longer with my daughter. So maternity leave for me turned into forever. I never went back to work. All of my family and friends were like, what are you doing? You had summers off and this is like the safe job. And what are you doing? I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this full time. I'm going to start my own publishing house and I'm going to do the same thing that I did for myself for other authors. And so I did it. And so by 2005, we were already bringing in revenue of like $400K a year. And so all those people, those naysayers that was like, don't do it. Entrepreneurship is risky. I was like, no, this has been in my bones forever. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I just didn't know what to do, how to do it. So that was the thing, Scott, that was the battery in my back, and I have not stopped since.
That's an amazing story. And one thing that I love about that, and I want to understand, I want to know if you even understand where your fire comes from, because if that's something you could pack up and give to somebody else, that would be incredibly valuable. Because one thing I noticed is every single point in your life where you could have just relaxed and taken it easy, you didn't, and you turned it up. And that's something that I see in a lot of entrepreneurs and people that are just very ambitious individuals. They always turn it up. Like when you went on maternity leave and you started writing a book, no one does that. Like really, no one does. Like people don't do that, right? That's not a normal thing for people to do, for most people. And then even when you made $40K in 2 months, which is that's a success, because a lot of people don't make anything when they first try and build something or do something. You just didn't decide to write another book. You decided to open a publishing house, and because you could have just written another book, right? And you could have just gone on and written, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, more books. So do you know why? Do you know why, or do you understand why that is, or what drives you? Or I'm curious if you know.
So I think, again, I watched my grandfather growing up. He always made a way. It was never, I'm going to sit and relax. It was, what's next? What are we doing? How are we doing this? He took me to a lot of those jobs. It was It was like, hey, I'm going over here to do this. We had a pool growing up, and he was like, no, I'm not going to call the pool company. I want you to learn how to do the pH, and you do the pool. And I'm like, oh, okay. So right now, if I ever needed a job, I can go and do pool. I can service pools.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just think that watching that definitely fueled me from the beginning. And then over the years, it's just always been in me I don't do mediocre in anything that I do. It's just not in me to do mediocre. And I know my children are tired of me because I now see me doing the same thing to them. It's like, hey, I know you're in school. Well, what else are you going to do? Hey, I know you have this. What's next? And how can you take that and do it better? It's just what we do.
Now you do a couple things now. So I'm actually curious if you can give us a rundown on the stuff that you're working on. Because when I go to your website, like you obviously still the publishing house, there's film, but then you're also working with entrepreneurs, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So what's the, who is Tressa today?
So, the thing is, let me start with the publishing house, because I've been running that for almost 20 years now. That can run itself. The evolution of printed books, that's just a small portion of the business. Books are mostly done online now, right? So we have editors, we have submission reviewers. That part of the company can run itself, honestly, without me. I just kind of oversee. So I spend most of my time running the film company, MegaMind Media, and I will never give up my teaching. I teach entrepreneurs and filmmakers all the time through my mentorship programs. That's the love that has stayed in me since teaching. It's never left. I teach youth. I bring youth onto my set, creatives that want to be in the film and TV industry. And it's funny because if I announce that I'm doing something with the youth, the adults are like, hey, well, how can I get in? So what's the age cap? I want to get in. I still, teach. I teach the adults twice a month because I'm like, y'all are not the focus. It's the youth. We need to train our young creatives so that they can graduate from high school and college with the skill set to be able to go out and produce movies and to do, years ago, this was unheard of. If you did not live in Hollywood, you did not have these kinds of opportunities. And so I'm bringing those opportunities to a lot of the communities so that our youth can get involved and be on set and watch movies, go from a script to on the screen. So that's really important. The educational aspect. So today, that is still number one for me. It's where my heart lies. And of course, I can produce a couple of good flicks.
Hey, I just want to pause for a second and thank the sponsor of today's show, Mint Mobile. Now, if you've ever signed up for a cell phone, which I'm pretty sure 100% of the people listening to this have, there's always gotchas in the contract. There's always extra fees, or there's just a lot of fees and you're paying through the nose. When Mint reached out to me, I was skeptical at first because I'm originally from Canada. Now I'm in the States, but I know in Canada we have the worst telco rates in the world. You're paying like $100+ for a cell phone. In the States, it's expensive. It's not as bad as Canada, but it's pretty damn expensive. So another telco, looked into it a little bit more. Mint is by far the cheapest telco service, most inexpensive telco service I've ever seen in my life, bar none. Their plans start at roughly $15 a month, and they ship me a SIM card to say, like, Scott, if you're going to talk about this, you better be damn sure that the quality is good, because for $15, people are going to be a little bit hesitant. Is the service good? Do I get, data everywhere? Do I get, a good call quality? Can I Google whatever I want? Can I stream if I want to? The answer is yes. So you are getting as good, if not better, than any mainstream brand name telco provider. There are no dead spots. I'm using the service myself now, and it's incredible. Call quality is crystal clear. I get incredibly fast data speeds. So 5G data speeds everywhere I go. I've never had an outage or a dead zone or anything like that. How do they keep the cost low? It's the way they've built their business. They've built their business business with no storefronts, no brick and mortar. So everything that you do with Mint Mobile is online. It's an incredible service. So if you're looking into them, all plans include unlimited text, talk, and high-speed data. Again, competing, if not better than any of the major providers that you're currently using. They have a 100% money-back guarantee within 7 days. You can bring your own phone, use your own phone. And like I said, it's starting at $15 a month. So if you want to take advantage of a special offer they put together for listeners of the Success Story podcast, go to mintmobile.com/success story. Go to mintmobile.com/success story. You will cut your wireless bill to $15 a month without sacrificing anything. All right, let's get back. Yeah. So let's talk about so I have some follow-up questions I'm going to shelve for later, just based on like how you're working with youth and whatnot, and some things that you teach over to them. But let's still go back to your career, because I want to bridge that gap. So you are building out this publishing house. Where did film come into this? Because that's another pivot. Well, not a pivot, an addition. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's a natural progression. So if you think about it, with the books lies content, and content is king, period. Mm-hmm. And so I want to say by 2014, I had built an extensive catalog at that point in the book industry. And so that's attractive to people who need content, so I would have independent producers, executives of networks saying, "Oh my goodness, God, I'm so forgive me for that."
No, it's fine. Listen, I get dogs, I get kids, I get phones. Like this is the work from home life. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Hopefully, y'all, that's Oprah. Is that Oprah? Would you?
If it is, you take it, right? You don't wait up for me.
Yeah. So I would say for me, 2014, the calls started coming in saying, "Hey, you have all of these books. Have you ever thought about selling the rights to some of them so that they can become book to film adaptations?" They're like, lots of books, become movies. So I was like, never really thought about that. So when it started happening more and more, I said, let me research this a little bit more. I started attending film festivals and asking questions and researching, and realized, okay, I really have something here. This is pretty valuable. But because I understood the success of my book company and the fact that I own the rights to all of these projects and what that residual income looks like, I was like, there's no point of me going to sell the rights to a particular book for, 50 to 100,000 when I can take that project and do the movie myself, and I'll make, $500K a year or so, with this one in residual income. So the numbers just didn't add up for me. However, I didn't have a background in film. I knew nothing about film. So it's that educational piece in me that said, start learning, start utilizing resources, meet some people. That's what I do well. I'm going to always, if you told me you knew something, Scott, I don't care where you live, I'm probably like, Scott, I'm going to get on a plane next week and I'm coming to take you to lunch, because I want to know what it is that and how, we can work together. So I finally took the big leap. Remember, 2014 the calls started coming in, started researching, spent a whole year just talking to people. 2015, I finally made the decision. I'm going to shoot my first independent movie from one of my books. I didn't know which one it was going to be, but I said it would be one of them. And so I ended up going to meet with a director. His name is Terayle Hill, because I knew in order for me to do this successfully, I've got to hire people who've done this before. And I need to see their work on screen. I don't want them just to tell me that they did it. I want to see it. That's where we go wrong out here in this entrepreneurial world, and especially with social media. We just find the first person who says, I can teach you how to do that, and you sign up and you don't even know if they can really do it. I was like, I want real credentials. So I met with Terayle Hill, who directed a movie called Brotherly Love for Queen Latifah's movie company. He had directed Deuces with Lorenz Tate and Lance Gross, some pretty reputable names. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, I really want you to write and direct my very first movie. I told him about the book catalog. He said, pick your top 5 books that you think you want me to direct, and let me read the books. I gave him 5 books. He came back and said, Secrets of a Housewife. That's the one that we should do. And so we started right then at that very moment and said he decided that he was going to write the script for me. He wrote the script within like a 3-month period. We started casting and we shot the movie November 2015. And by 2016, I was at the American Black Film Festival with this finished product, and it was licensed by BET. So for me, school teacher, author who knew nothing about filming, to be able to have an opportunity like that to put, and I didn't share, Scott, that the unique part about this is that I financed this movie in-house with my own family.
That's not normal. I don't know much about film, but I know that's not normal.
Yeah, because most times, and my family, they did go, this girl's a little bit crazy. Now, I knew she was crazy before, but she's really crazy now. And they were like, you're going to do what and how? And I'm saying, now, one of the things that I do believe that always helps me is the fact that I have a proven track record. I am not one of those entrepreneurs who are just out there just doing things and not researching like I am. I go in the black. And so because of that, they were like, I'm getting with you. And so that movie was successful. It was my first movie that, licensed to BET again, 2016. Here I am now, 2021. I have 14 movies under my belt by continuing that same process.
Hey, Scott here. We're just going to take a second and thank the sponsor of today's episode, Gusto. This is a one-stop shop, one place you can go to take care of all the payroll issues, all the payroll stresses that you have to deal with as a business owner. Look, 2020 has been a rough year. We can all agree on that, and 2021 is pretty rough too. But if there's one thing that small business owners don't need is more headache. One thing that you've learned in the past year is that you have to focus on your business, because Gusto isn't just built with businesses in mind, is built with the people who run businesses in mind. Their payroll system is the easiest to use, and I've used a lot over my career. Gusto automatically calculates paychecks. It files all of your payroll taxes. It also helps with time tracking, health insurance, and a ton of other HR nightmares that you just don't want to deal with. It also gives you access to HR experts who can help you. It's super easy to get started. The switching pains are nil. Why? Because they will move over all of your data for you. 94% of customers who switch to Gusto recommend Gusto as the best payroll solution they've ever used. And this is the offer you're waiting for. Anybody who's listening right now on the Success Story podcast, you get 3 months free. This means you can try it without any stress. Go to gusto.com/Scott. That's gusto.com/Scott, and that will give you 3 months free to try it out for yourself. Play around with it, see if it works for your business. I'm almost positive it will. All right, let's get back to the show. It's an incredible story, and I think there's a lot of things that have come naturally to you that I think people should pick up on, and if they don't come naturally to people, they do want to be successful. They have to pick up on these clues, like these hints that you dropped about building a solid foundation, aligning with mentors, but the right mentors, and ignoring all the bullshit that's out there that you just have to stay away from, but also, leveraging and learning from people that have done it before. These are all great lessons. So in summary, building an incredible, book and film empire is no different than any other entrepreneurial venture, obviously. And all the things that sorry?
Yeah, I said, no, it's honestly the same thing, because in the beginning for me, it was, I kept, self-doubt will sink in when you're on your journey to doing something new. There was always going to be that little person on your shoulder saying, you can't do it. You don't know how to do it. Don't do it. You're wasting your time. And so it's good to know that you can. And it's good to hear from if I can do it, anybody out there can do it. Because I literally did not have a background in anything film related. Nothing.
And let's ask some classic entrepreneurial questions. And I want to figure out your motivations for some of the, not motivations, excuse me, your drivers. So how do you stay motivated when, for example, things aren't going well, or you're not getting, for example, results that you're looking for? What's your go-to?
Yeah, I think for me, it's my faith. My faith is strong. I do realize that every single thing that has happened in my life, then my steps are ordered by God for sure. Because none of this is normal. I think you and I have just said over and over again, no, that's not normal. No, that's not normal. So I think the realization for me is that nothing that is happening in my world is normal. So I need to just stay the course. I spend a lot of time helping people and giving back. I do believe that is a big key to my success. I get a lot of great. I get a lot of great things coming my way. You know, phone calls that come that I'm like, is that such and such calling me? Why? But I do believe I'm getting back what I put out. So I do believe that people need to understand that if you're someone that you're looking for help to start your business, but other people have reached out to you to ask for your help, how did you handle that? Because you get back what you give, period. Energy is everything.
I love that. Okay, another tip. How do you find, you said you found people that have done it before, mentors that have really helped you. How do you separate, the good versus the bad? What's your process?
Yeah, so I think number one is got to start with credentials, right? That's the number one. And then once, for example, IMDb Pro. If you're, this is for all my creatives. I know this is a podcast for tons of entrepreneurs, but if you're in the world of film,
there's some out there for sure. Yeah.
IMDb Pro. Look at somebody's credits. Right now, my publicist could have emailed Scott and said, hey, Tressa does all these movies, etc. You can go to the IMDb, and if I only have 2 movies there, it's like, well, you said you did 14, but I only see 2. What's going on? Ask questions. I get tons of people who send me messages, and it's not true, but I research everything. So I would start there. Number 2, after credentials, let's move to just personality and who people are. Before you go into business with someone and ruin a situation or get yourself tied up into something that you should not be tied up to. Again, research. Who is this person? Sometimes you can learn a lot about a person just from an hour lunch. And it's like, oh, okay. I see now. You just punch the waiter because your water, you didn't get the lemon in your water. Okay, may not work business with you. Yeah, you gotta because people are so hungry now for what else. Like I want it so bad. But you have to step back and make sure that it's right for you. You can get yourself into a lot of really bad situations if you don't study it and research the situation. And this is specifically, I'm speaking to my younger entrepreneurs out there right now. The younger folk tend to want the microwave success stories. I want it right now. I see this person on social media. They are over here in Dubai. And I'm like, no, they photoshopped that. They were actually not in Dubai. So I always try to tell my youth, stop watching what everyone else is doing. Run your own race, worry about what you're doing, and do what makes you happy. Because all of that other stuff is short-lived. But it boils down to what is true, what is factual. So check credentials.
And then the last question I had about some of your processes was for education and for research. How do you research? How do you educate yourself both on people you work with, but also something new you want to do? All right, pause for a second. I have to thank the sponsor of today's show, BKA Content. What is BKA Content? Well, it is a service that provides you with the best quality content, copy, written content for your website, your blog, wherever you want to put it. Listen, I'm a marketer. I've built out marketing departments. I've built out teams that have built out very successful SEO campaigns. And if you don't have a strong blog, if you don't have strong copy that converts, that drives people to check out your website, to sign up for a demo, to purchase a product, you are missing out. Content is king. You've heard this before. And BKA Content is the best content writing agency I've tried. And I've tried a lot. I've tried outsourced people. I've tried freelancers on a variety of freelance services. The stuff you get back from these places, when you try and save money, it's garbage. You have to edit it. It's tons of work. You know this. So BKA Content is a monthly subscription that provides you as much content as you need for your blog, your social social, your website, whatever it may be. They give you a dedicated account manager. They're going to do their keyword research. They're going to understand your product, your persona, your brand, and the content they're going to deliver to you is top quality. It's premium, and you do need to keep editing it after you get the content from them. It's keyword optimized, SEO optimized. Your month's worth of blog posts will be delivered to your inbox ready to publish. If you don't believe me, don't stress, because you don't have to pay to try it out. They're giving a special offer to everybody who's listening to the Success Story podcast. You get 1 month of content free. So when you sign up, you get a month of content free. You can try their service. You can see the quality of their service. So go to bkacontent.com/success. That's bkacontent.com/success and claim your 1 month free of content, and never worry about content, copy, or writing ever again.
Yeah, so I can start with the people that I work with. I fact check everybody. I mean, at this point in the game, I have a lot of relationships with different networks, different executives, other producers, well-known directors. So, the industry, although it seems massive, it's very close. It's close-knit and it's small. So, Scott, if you were a director in the industry and I wanted to get to you, I would literally go to your IMDb and say, oh, Scott worked with Marshall. I know Marshall. Oh, he did a movie with, oh, let me call him. And I mean, it's pretty easy now. You can really get to anybody. So I typically will ask questions. How, what was it like working with them? Would you hire them again? Like, I ask the real deal questions before I even go to the person. So that's how I typically bring people into my world, whether they are crew for me, whether they are even for actors. You can be the best actor or actress ever. And if you have a bad rep in the industry, I probably don't want to hire you for my set, because what's the point? Mm-hmm. Don't need to do it.
Life's too short to work with shitty people. So
yeah. I'm not really interested in that.
Yeah.
My formula seems to be working. I want to stick with it. So that's for me hiring other people. And then for me educating myself, again, I'm big on education. I will never stop learning. If I have been to business school. I have business degrees. I have master's in education, undergrad degree. I mean, I am always learning. I'm thinking about going back to film school, Scott. I just got to carve out the time. And not necessarily because I want to be a director, but I just want to add another layer of knowledge so that when I'm on set and hiring certain people, I have that knowledge behind me. It's just what I love. I think I'm a professional student for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's what you have to be successful. And you want to be successful in your career or in building your own business. I think that's a really good attitude. I love that. Professional student. I really love that. That's good. And then something that you mentioned about young creatives.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the education that is the status quo versus what type of education people should be learning when they're young. What's broken in education? I'm sure you have opinions on that too.
Yeah, I really do. I mean, when I think about all the things that you should know coming out of school, most of our youth, they don't know. Let's just talk about something basic like writing a check, right? I remember I sent my daughter to deposit a check for me, and it was a pretty big check. The money never showed up in my account. And I was like, well, it's not here. She deposited that like 3 days ago. So I go to her bank account. It's in her account. Now, she didn't do it maliciously. She was like, well, you didn't tell me that there's a certain account number for certain. And I'm like, no, but I gave you this deposit slip. So I didn't know what that. So certain things, they don't teach you those kinds of things in school. How many students are in school learning that about investing? You don't learn that, right? You learn. So I just feel like in education, you're taught the basics. So for me, a child that is only learning when they're at school, your education is going to be broken, period. If you don't, learning does not continue when you get home, we have a problem.
And what do you do to... No, I agree 100%. So how do you fix that? How do you fix that?
Parents and communities have to step up and understand. That's why I teach, entrepreneurship, often. Every summer, I partner with the Mayor's Youth Program in the Washington, D.C. area, and I do mentorship classes. Last year, we did them all on Zoom because we were in COVID. Prior to that, we had them face to face. But this was so great for the students because it's youth between the ages of like 17 and 21, and they're right at that stage where they want fancy cars, they want all these things that they see, but they don't understand the process, how to get it. They don't understand, well, you need good credit to get a good interest rate to get this car, and you don't understand it when you drive that car off the parking lot, it's now depreciating instantly. So when they learn this from me, the reason why it's very relatable coming from me is because they desire to be authors. They want to be movie producers. They love the world that I live in, so they will receive it from me. Like, hey, yeah, I like nice cars too. I like these things, but what's important in life? And let's start there. This is what you do. This is how you make it happen. You want to own your own business? This is where you start. So by the time they leave, they have names for their businesses. They leave with an incredible amount of motivation, and a lot of them follow through. They DM me on social media, and they're like, "Hey, I did it. I started my blog, or I did this." And so it's really inspiring for me just to know that I could have an impact on the students and not still teach in the classroom. So, although I'm not a teacher and no longer in the classroom, I am still doing it on a daily basis out here while still following my dreams.
Yeah, that's smart, and it's good. I appreciate that you take the time to give back because people that have that level of success that you've achieved, they all know it. They all know that education's broken, that kids are seeing all the nice things. And I think it's even worse now because you see all these nice things on social and you see people living these lives, and fake or not,
Yeah.
we're exposed. Yeah. Exactly. But, before when there was no social, like at least you weren't like almost like attracted to this lifestyle of, luxury and nice cars, nice clothes, whatever, all these trips. Now it's in your face and you don't know how to get it. And it seems almost impossible.
Yeah. And then sometimes they feel like they're a failure because they don't have it. They're like, oh my goodness, what am I?
That's even worse.
Yeah, it's so terrible. So I try to touch on it all the time. I try to make sure that I'm encouraging them. I'm showing them what's important in life and how to make it happen.
Yeah, no, very good. Okay. A couple rapid fire life lesson questions to finish it off. But before, anything else that you wanted to bring up, that you wanted to shout out? And we'll get some socials and stuff at the end, but anything else that you're working on right now?
Yeah, well, listen, I want everybody out there to go and watch some of my movies. I know that people have all kinds of different platforms. So definitely my very first movie that I talked about, because it's always good to go see a person's first movie. Secret. It is, you can watch it if you have no cable at all or anything streaming, you can go and watch it on Tubi TV, Tubi TV for free. If you just Google Tubi TV, Secrets movie, it'll come up and you can watch it for free. It's also on BET. It's on a lot of other platforms as well, but free. Free is always good, right?
And you can see where you started off in film. You can see where your first, you said go check out the first thing. I don't know if I ever want people to see all the first podcasts I did. Pretty rough, but
I like that because if you go and see where I started, then you can go and watch some of the other projects, right? And so, on another note, I have my social impact films that are coming out. Some of them are coming out in July. These are movies that will air on BET Her for their women's health initiatives. And this is dealing with mental health. So a lot of times mental health is the topic that people go, I don't want to talk about it, And so we try to come up with a way to make it cool to talk about mental health, go see a therapist, having people say, hey, I got a therapist is cool. Like I want to go see my therapist. It makes me have a better day. It makes you have a better day. And so we did these films with Vivica Fox, Mona Scott Young, Yandy Smith, a lot of influencers so that we could attract those people, Scott, that we were talking about who are probably sitting at home scrolling, wanting to be like certain people. So if you see influencers, in a film saying it's cool to get help. That was the purpose. And so those films come out in July. So we're really excited about those. Then I have a thriller coming out in the fall. I got crazy again. Dear
You're all over the place with all these different genres.
all these, and that's the one thing I don't want to ever put myself in a box. I want to be
Yeah.
able to do what I feel. Obviously some of my films are going to have more purpose, my breast cancer films or domestic violence. But yeah, I'm just really excited about the space that I'm in and the number of projects that are coming out. And I post all, and I know we'll do social media
Yeah.
stuff, but I typically post all my trailers on my social media so you can go and watch them, see which ones float your boat.
Cool. I'll check them. Now you have another. I'll probably go through all of them and see your first. I'll see some of your thriller stuff. I'll check out the mental health stuff. That's good. That's very good too. Okay, so let's do a couple rapid fire. Let me see which ones would be good. Okay, so advice that you would give to somebody just starting out in their career.
I would say research, study the market, soak up all the knowledge that you can.
Good advice. What was the biggest hurdle in your career, and how did you overcome it?
Finances. Always trying to go to the next level. As your budgets increase, you need more money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always a challenge. Right now, I'm raising money for a $4 million film. I only have $1 million, so you can imagine a couple of sleepless nights.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Okay, one thing that you would tell your, say, 20-year-old self.
Keep your credit right. Even though my parents told me I never.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Who has been the most influential in your life?
My grandfather and my father.
Good. And a resource that somebody should go check out. Could be a podcast, book, person.
Oh, Automatic Millionaire book. Definitely want you to check that out because, having capital is everything. And if you are saving consistently automatically, it will change your life. Love that.
Good book. I've never had that recommendation before, so I'm going to go check that out as well. So that's a new one. So thank you. I'll put it on the bookshelf behind me. What else? Yeah. What does this is the last question, then I'll get all of your contact info. What does success mean to you?
Oh man, success means having freedom. Freedom to do what you love. Freedom to do the things that will help you to leave a legacy in life. I love the fact that I'm able to be hands-on with my children. There's no work schedule or anything that can prohibit me from being anywhere, anytime they need me. That means more to me than anything.
I love that. It's a beautiful answer. And then most importantly, where do people connect with you online? All your socials, your website, and everything like that.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, I would love for you all to connect with me. Website, www.tressa, Tressa, Azarel, Azarel.com. If you go there, you can enter your email and you can actually get, they'll send you an email for my free classes. I do a lot of free classes on film, getting into the industry, how to write a script, just getting people acclimated so that they can understand what it is. Also, we do a lot of casting calls. Most of that information you can find when you follow me on my social media. Every platform, it's the same thing. CEO Azarel. So again, Azarel is Azarel.
I love that, and I saw your social. I like the handles. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's me. I'm there, and I respond a lot to my DMs, but definitely for people, most times people say, "Hey, I want to get with her because I know she can build businesses. She knows how, if I want to become an author, a filmmaker." And so again, the teacher in me, I made it easy. I'm like, twice a month we do classes. You get on, you learn, but see, even when you learn, you got to execute. That's the key. You got to take the knowledge and you got to execute. Can't sit on that couch eating Cinnabons and flipping a remote. That doesn't work. Okay, we got to get out there and make it happen.